Okay, let's see. Got some people on here. Hi, Sam. Hi, Robbie. Hi, guys. Well, it's just about 6 right now, so we'll just give it another minute, and then we'll get started. I'm going to go ahead and click record here. It should be recording. Yep, perfect. Everyone's doing well. Can everyone see me okay? Give me a little thumbs up if you guys can hear me and see me. Cool. Awesome. Thanks, Robbie. Yeah, I love seeing your face. Awesome. Okay. I'd say we're going to go ahead and get started. I know your guys' time is valuable. I have Robbie in the chat here as well, who's going to help me to kind of moderate, make sure everything kind of goes well. All right. So welcome. I am really so glad you guys are here. This next hour is going to be packed with some education around how the body is really designed to work. I'm going to really be providing you hopefully with some simple, practical steps to not only jumpstart the metabolism, but help you balance hormones, boost energy, elevate moods, and find your happy weight. I really, truly believe this is the stuff that we should have learned in school, but we didn't. So here we are. My hope is that you'll walk away today feeling really empowered and ready to take action. So I'm going to go ahead and turn off my video. And let's see here. Bear with me. I'm still learning how to use all this technology. So not my forte. I'm going to pause my video and then we're going to go ahead and share a slide so you guys can follow along. We'll pop in here. Okay. I don't know about you, but working with technology is like a very big learning curve for me. So, all right, here we go. So if you're multitasking already, I know that took a little minute to set up, go ahead and close your tabs, eliminate any distractions. You guys do not want to miss this stuff. So for anyone who stays till the very end, you'll get access to some of my absolute favorite recipes along with a done for you meal plan. So go ahead and comment in the chats. What brought you here today? What brought you onto this call? How are you feeling? What kind of drove you to be interested in this training? And again, Robbie's here in the chat to kind of help us moderate. Awesome. Cool. So let's dive into master your metabolism. So a lot of us are kind of here because we're really feeling that like chronic fatigue. We're starting to kind of feel that sluggishness, that afternoon crash, the diets maybe that didn't work for us, feeling kind of frustrated and overwhelmed. Maybe you've, tried some of those get healthy fast diets or those quick fixes in the past and perhaps saw some quick wins, but it just wasn't really sustainable long term. Maybe you hit that point of frustration where you're just tired of feeling crappy and deep down, you know that you could feel better, but you're really not sure where to start. There's so much noise out there, especially in the health world. So what's really true anyways? What's really going to make a difference? Does any of this sound familiar? Well, I know a lot of this was really familiar for me in my 20s and kind of what brought me to this work. So you, my friend, are not alone. I've worked with a lot of one-on-one clients and really experiencing some of these similar feelings of hopelessness, feeling frustrated, overwhelmed, and really depleted. But I have some good news for you. After some foundational work, a little bit of unlearning what we've been taught and relearning the fundamentals of how the body works and the habits to support it, almost 100% of my clients saw improvements in how they feel. So it really comes back to understanding how to support the metabolism and balance the hormones. It's really the key to that sustainable energy, balanced moods, mental clarity, feeling more confident in your body, having better digestion and sleep, that thriving libido, and feeling empowered in your food choices. So even though what you learned today will just be a tip of the iceberg, you'll leave this training with some empowering information and practical resources to help you take action in your health and shift from perhaps a place of deprivation or stress to a place of nourishment and balance. So my ask for you tonight is that you come with kind of an open mind. Much of what we've been taught and through the influence of societal programming, we've picked up some habits that really go against our natural human physiology and how the body was designed to work. So are you guys ready to dive in? Throw a little high five in the chat. We'll be spending the next about 30 to 40 minutes here together talking about this. So what is the metabolism anyways? Put your thoughts in the comments. I'd love to see what comes to mind. I know when I first started learning about the metabolism back in my 20s, I just thought the metabolism was how fast we burn fat. Little did I know, it is a lot more than that. Yeah, weight loss, absolutely. Is it like my body's fuel? Yep. Yeah, and I see there might be some issues with seeing each other's chat. Oh, hi, Dee. It's great to see you on here. I thought I saw that familiar face. Absolutely. So we're going to kind of break through some of the myths about the metabolism today, and we'll really learn and digest kind of what it truly is. The metabolism is the sum of every cellular process in the body. So simply put, it's how well our body takes the raw ingredients. So those carbohydrates that break down into glucose, the fatty acids from fats, the amino acids from proteins, and the vitamins and minerals and phytonutrients from foods. So it takes those raw materials and it turns them into energy or heat so that every cell functions well, and therefore we function well. So our body is made out of trillions of cells that are responsible for creating energy. And those cells rely on chemical messengers to communicate and function. Those chemical messengers are our hormones. So very important, metabolism and hormones, they go hand in hand. We'll talk a lot about hormones today. But for right now, this is kind of a bit of a vague explanation, but we'll dive more into metabolism. But in other words, the metabolism isn't just how quick we burn fat. Let's see here. So let me turn here. It's also the sum of every cellular process in the body, as I mentioned. So by nourishing and supporting our metabolism, we're actually supporting every process of the body: digestion, detoxification, hormone production, and ultimately how we think, look, and feel. The function of your metabolism is a perfect indicator of overall health. So here's where things can go wrong. If the cells are stressed out or they don't have those raw materials to function well, then the hormones, those chemical messengers, will get wonky. This is where hormonal imbalance comes in. So it might look a little like poor energy, PMS, weight gain, sluggishness, mood imbalances, sleep issues, digestive issues, and really all those other nagging symptoms. All of our cells rely on these hormones to function. So we'll talk more about hormones in a bit. Would you guess that most of us are walking around with a thriving metabolism or a trash metabolism? If you guessed trash, you're exactly right. So what happened to those thriving metabolisms of our youth anyways? Well, diet culture is one of the leading culprits. It told us that our metabolism slows down with age and there's nothing we can do about it. when it's really the exact habits and practices that diet culture sells us that drive down our metabolism in the first place, leading to poor health. So let's take a quick look at what I mean. I'm talking about fasting, cutting out carbs, demonizing sugar and saturated fat, restrictive eating, calorie counting, deprivation diets, skipping breakfast, excessive cardio, loading up on plant fats like nuts and seeds, the very fats that animals use to slow down their metabolism and hibernate in the winter, and eating too many toxic vegetable oils. These are just a few diet habits that contribute to sluggish metabolism and those wonky hormones. Now, I want to pause for a minute because there is zero judgment or shame here. We've all been influenced in one way or another by diet culture. But today, we're going to break free from the dogma and embrace a more empowered mindset that creates nourishment and embraces our natural human physiology. So really how the body is designed to work. So who out there would be happy to never diet again? Raise your hand or share any thoughts that you have there. So before we hop into support the metabolism, I want to provide a quick overview of blood sugar and a few very important hormones involved in this process. And it's kind of important to understand this first, so the rest of what I talk about tonight will really make sense. Now, if you're multitasking, come back to me. I know this is a lot of information, but this will provide a lot of clarity on really how you feel and the lens in which we see the world. I really use hormones as that description of that lens in which we see the world. When our hormones are wonky or imbalanced, we often are irritable or anxious, or we have this sluggishness where we're just really, what comes to mind is Eeyore from Winnie the Pooh. You can kind of think of him as having some imbalances in his hormones there and his neurotransmitters. But nonetheless, we'll continue on. So the regulation of blood sugar, which is also known as blood glucose, is a very delicate system that our body was designed to prioritize balancing at all cost. Our blood has a specific range in which glucose, that blood sugar, needs to be, and it can really change minute to minute. So let's do a little lesson on balancing blood sugar here, which I'll refer to as glucose. And here's what you need to know. So our body's primary source of fuel is glucose. I kind of want to repeat that because I think a lot of people have a misunderstanding out there. But again, our primary source of fuel in our body is glucose, and that's, yes, sugar. So we'll talk more about the kinds of sugar later. Second, our blood really carries that glucose to all of our body's cells to use it for energy. Insulin, it's the hormone that's released when we eat carbohydrates of sugar that brings that glucose out of the blood and into the cells to be utilized for energy. So after your body has used the energy it needs in that moment, the leftover glucose is stored in these little bundles called glycogen, you don't need to know that, in the liver and the muscles to use in between meals or in case of an emergency. Any excess is stored as fat or triglycerides. So about 2 hours after you eat a meal, the body will release glucagon, a fat-burning hormone, from your liver to replenish the blood and the cells and some fatty acids. And it will be used for that energy in between meals. And the muscles are selfish, though. They use that stored glucose for themselves when they're activated. So one thing to point out is that the liver's reserves of glucose only last a few hours between meals. Okay, I know this is a lot, but stick with me. I promise it will make more sense soon. So here is where things go wrong, part one. When we don't regularly provide our body with the fuel or the glucose, it will be forced to make its own. This process is not only stressful on the body, but it requires the adrenals to release stress hormones, cortisol and adrenaline. Some of you may be familiar with those hormones, or you may have heard them before, but our adrenals will release those hormones to signal the body to catabolize or break down its own reserves and turn them into fuel. This is a backup system. It's not designed to be used regularly, and it's certainly not designed to be used daily. So these stress hormones that I mentioned, cortisol and adrenaline, are also known as the fight or flight hormones because they help the body react quickly, especially in the moment of danger. Stress hormones, though, have a direct impact on our thyroid hormones that drive the rate in which we burn calories. The stress hormones will not only drive down that thyroid function, but in turn will slow down our metabolism and signal the body to go into preservation mode. This process, done over time, keeps the body in a stressed out state, really dialing down the metabolism, meaning every process in the body becomes sluggish in an effort to preserve or protect the stores we have. Meaning we start burning those calories, that lunch, that dinner, at a much slower metabolic rate. Plus, cortisol, which is also known as the fat storage hormone, starts to contribute to weight gain or the inability to lose weight, especially around the midsection for women. What's interesting to note about adrenaline is it may feel good in the moment. So it's kind of that false energy. It also curbs the appetite. So taking away those hunger signals. This is why many people report not being hungry in the morning because they fasted all night, they skipped breakfast, maybe they had some coffee, and then they forced the body to release those stress hormones in order to break down its tissues and make its own fuel, and it's masked the signals of hunger. Now, without using that adrenaline to, let's say, physically run away from a danger, like running from a tiger, that stress hormone sits in the body and can contribute to anxiety, feelings of overwhelm, irritability, restlessness, premature aging, headaches, damage to our blood vessels, fertility issues, and for men, low testosterone. Plus, cortisol use, or I should say chronic use of cortisol and stress hormones regularly contribute to our adrenals being overworked, leading to chronic fatigue and mineral depletion. This looks like low energy, sluggishness, brain fog, sleep, and digestive issues. Remember, when we slow down the metabolism, we slow down every other process in the body. So to recap, although stress hormones are life-saving when it comes to avoiding, a car accident or running away from a rabid dog, it's a problem when it's continually activated in response to not properly fueling yourself. So here's the big takeaway from that. When the body doesn't get what it needs, those raw materials, and is forced to make its own, it sends the body into a primal state of survival. My dog, I don't know if you can hear him in the background, but he's about to send me into a little bit of a cortisol surge here, and is forced to make its own. So let's talk a little bit about that. When we're in that primal state of survival, the body, it can't heal. It definitely isn't thinking about reproduction, and it's definitely not thriving when it's depleted of these very important nutrients that it needs to function. And it certainly will not release any excess weight in the state of survival. This might be when we turn to another diet or a quick fix to solve our energy or weight concerns. But as you can see, what the body needs isn't further restriction, it's nourishment, support, and balance. So, I don't know if you guys can hear that little Bosley in the background. Go ahead and pop in the chats here if you have any kind of aha moments or anything that popped up for you. I know that was a lot of information. Awesome. There we go. Now I can see them. I can hear Bosley. Yeah, I know. He's so loud. He just went in the other room. So hopefully he won't be bugging us anymore. All right. He always loves whenever I get on my phones or my computers or anything. He always loves to pop in here. So here we are. So let's go ahead and talk about what else can go wrong. So we did part one, and now let's talk about part two. And you might be thinking, Deanna, I eat breakfast and regularly throughout the day. So, do I really need to be worrying about this? So let's take a look at what else really commonly goes wrong here. We see what happens when we skip out on fueling properly and consistently. So let's take a quick walk through what happens when we eat a meal without the right balance, a meal lacking foundation, such as mostly carbohydrate breakfast. So for this example, let's say you start your day with a banana, a bottle of fresh pressed juice, or maybe you're on the go, so a muffin and some orange juice. These foods are primarily made up of simple carbohydrates. So we really hit our body first thing in the morning with almost pure sugar. Our blood sugar rises quickly. Now, when we're riding high on sugar, we get that kind of energy rush. Remember, food gives us that energy. Our hormone insulin then comes out to play, but because we had this huge immediate spike in sugar, this excess insulin gets released, driving our glucose into the cells, storing some in the tissues and muscles for later, and then the rest gets stored as fat. So I want to share this image here with you. Let's see, the blood sugar roller coaster. And that's what we kind of continue on throughout the day. So because excess insulin is released in response to the excess sugar, our blood sugar drops and we crash. Because what goes up must inevitably come down. And it's the crash that makes us feel tired and groggy and hungry already. Often after a blood sugar crash, we'll reach for anything to feel normal again. Hello, cravings, coffee, and junk food. Or cortisol will get released to raise that blood sugar in that backup system. So even if we think we're being healthy by grabbing an apple or a granola bar, we're at a point where our blood sugar is going to shoot right back up and we start the cycle all over again, riding this blood sugar roller coaster all day. So the blood sugar goes up, insulin comes out to play, sugar is stored as fat, blood sugar drops, we feel shitty, we eat again, and so on. So this trap is where many of us live. Without an appropriately balanced meal to start your day, we aren't able to set ourselves up for really success and balanced hormones. This cycle has really major long-term effects, as you can see, many of which we've already discussed, but there's also some metabolic diseases like diabetes that are really running rampant. So currently, 1 in 3 Americans are pre-diabetic. That's almost a third of the United States population. And over 80% of them don't even know that they're pre-diabetic. And what's more alarming is that this rate in children is skyrocketing. So we'll move along here. As you can see, glad we made it through that stuff. So I know that was a lot of information, but now that you have kind of an overview of blood sugar and stress hormones, we can dive into the top habits that trash our metabolism and disrupt hormones, especially as women, but more importantly, what we can do instead. So if you're multitasking, this is where you want to tune in. As you can see, many of our modern stressors here in life, work, debt, toxic food, chemical burdens on the body, leave us depleted. And the last thing we need is another diet. Instead, I want to help you cultivate true nourishment, balance, resilience, and vibrant energy through adopting healthy habits. Over 80% of disease is not genetic, but it's environmental, meaning that our daily choices and habits impact our health not only today, but in the future, and that of our future generations. So you might be able to see by now how addressing the symptoms with medication is really a Band-Aid approach. It's not addressing the root cause, the imbalance. So it's really time that we reclaim our health and place the power back into our own hands. These foundational 5 habits I'll be going over are the non-negotiables to make this happen. All right. So here are the 5 foundational habits to adopt for healthy hormones and robust metabolism. And this is really where I start with all of my one-on-one clients and where they begin to see the most transformation in how they feel, look, and really show up in the world. So number 1, we've got to stop skipping breakfast. 2 hours after dinner and while we sleep, our blood sugar drops and those backup reserves get used. After fasting all night, we wake up and we have a choice. Option A, we refuel ourselves with a balanced breakfast, setting our day up for success. Remember that balanced blood sugar and balanced hormones help to support balanced energy. And it also helps us to jumpstart our digestion. Or option B, we skip it. We force the body to make its own fuel in that backup system, releasing stress, fat storage hormones, which impact our thyroid, slow down the metabolism, and contribute to imbalance. All these things we previously mentioned. So if you do one thing after this training that's pro-metabolic, it would be to eat a balanced breakfast within 1 hour of waking up. A little pro tip here is to also avoid drinking coffee on an empty stomach, as this really induces a stress response. It's not good to press the gas pedal with no fuel in the tank. And number 2, avoid going long periods without eating. Remember, the liver only stores a few hours of backup energy before it's depleted. Plus, we want to allow the liver the capacity to focus on the other 500 plus functions it has to keep us healthy and detoxing properly. Remember, balancing blood sugar is a minute-to-minute priority for the body. So when we force that process on the liver, it will prioritize that over other functions such as detoxing. This is a big eye-opener for clients of mine who are wanting to lose weight, especially, as the body will always prioritize blood sugar balancing first. So consistency in your meal times is best, training your metabolism and digestive system to better prepare for food by eating within an hour of waking and then every 4 to 5 hours to keep that metabolism humming along. So the next time you go 5 or 6 or 7 hours during the day without eating, know that it's creating some stress on the body. So without judgment, it's just awareness on what's happening on a more cellular level. So a pro tip with that one is to get to a place where you can allow glucagon, that fat burning hormone, to go to work. So getting to that happy place where you are able to avoid snacking all day and your meals feel balanced enough so that you're satiated and able to go those 4 to 5 hours without. All right, number 3, and I know this is not a sexy topic because we are in the keto world right now. So number 3 is to stop eliminating carbs from the diet and demonizing sugar. And I know that shows up with the keto, the Atkins, the low carb diets. Remember, our body's primary source of fuel is glucose. We need carbohydrates to support energy demands and balanced hormones, but they need to be the right type of carbohydrates. So whole food carbohydrates like organic whole fruit, root vegetables like carrots, beets, sweet potatoes, natural sweeteners like honey and maple syrup are easily digestible sugars bound to fiber. And then organic whole grains like oats, rice, quinoa, lentils, and legumes are all good sources of whole food carbohydrates that are balanced with protein as well as fiber. So low carb diets often increase that stress hormone and suppress the hormone leptin, which inhibits our ability to regulate our reproductive hormone. So that means more imbalance and low testosterone for men especially. So do your best to not eat carbs alone. Have the banana or the apple, but pair it with the nut butter or your crackers. Go ahead and have them, but pair it with a raw cheese or a hummus. It'll slow down the absorption of the sugar into the bloodstream, prevent you from riding that blood sugar roller coaster. I think we might have a couple people on here. If you don't mind just muting yourselves.
Sorry, guys.
I know you've got some babies out there, Sam, so I can hear them wanting their mommy. Awesome. So this one kind of leads us into our next habit. So number 4. So eating properly prepared or properly balanced meals. So the golden rule with meal preparation is to create your plate pairing whole food carbohydrates with a high quality protein and cook it in a healthy fat. Supporting balance and providing the body with those raw materials your cells need so that you can really heal and repair and function and thrive. And then I have a bonus at the end of this training to really help you make this habit a little bit easier. So moving right along. Oops, let me make sure I get to the next slide here. So number 5, our bodies were designed to move. So who here has heard of the lymphatic system? Just throw a little thumbs up in the chat if you've ever heard of that. Lymphatic system, or maybe what you know about the lymphatic system. Oh yes, Dee, I know you've definitely heard about it. Dee is a fantastic masseuse, so she works on that system all the time. Okay. Yeah, so I'm going to cover the lymphatic system here real briefly under this habit because it's really important to know about, and I don't think a lot of us do. So the lymph system is kind of like our body's sewer system. It's responsible for clearing out the waste and filtering our blood to keep us healthy, to support the immune system, and to manage inflammation. However, unlike our bloodstream that uses the heart as a pump, our lymph system does not have a pump, and therefore it requires physical movement to get the lymphatic fluid flowing. When we sit all day or for long periods of time or get in little movement, our lymph becomes stagnant. So think of a sewer system again. Imagine it slowing down and getting backed up. This not only hinders our detox pathways, but it leads to inflammation. Excess fluid in our tissues, feeling tired, groggy, grumpy, sluggish. Instead, we've got to make movement a priority every day, even if it's just walking around your neighborhood or on your lunch break. Walking is highly underrated. It's so supportive for balancing our physical structure and supporting our mental health just by getting outside and getting some fresh air. Other exercises here I really encourage are weight training or weightlifting. It's a great way to burn fat while you sleep by helping you build muscles. And rebounding is another incredible exercise for the lymph. So it involves jumping on a mini trampoline or even jumping jacks or jumping rope or bouncing up and down. It's that motion that pumps the lymph. So even 5 minutes in the morning and a few minutes throughout the day jumpstarts circulation and lymph flow and supports balanced weight. Another myth is that we need excessive cardio to lose weight. So cardio definitely has its place for building endurance, but anything over 30 minutes in an already depleted body increases stress hormones, and we all know we could use less of those. So goal yourself to 30 minutes a day. Work it into your lunch hour, put it in your schedule, make it a family habit after dinner. Just find a way to make it a priority. Okay, you guys, we covered a lot today. Type into the chat what's one pro-metabolic habit that you'll start tomorrow if you haven't already. Awesome. Without coffee first. Yes, absolutely. Eat breakfast. Let's see here. Yeah, no coffee on an empty stomach. Yeah, that's a big one because coffee helps to release adrenaline. But when we have food in our stomach, it doesn't have that same impact. Cool. So let's move along to our first freebie here. And just to make a note here, if you're one of the few who's like, Deanna, I'm doing all the things already, I already am doing those 5 habits, then you'll love this next free resource. In your email after the masterclass, you'll get a PDF resource with 8 additional micro habits to master. These are juicy. So if you're not already on my email list, you can go to this link here. I'll have Robbie put that in the chat as well. Or you can see it here on the slideshow and download that free resource. So start with the foundational 5. Make them part of your daily routine. Keep it simple. Set reminders on your phone. Put Post-its in your mirror, your work, your car. Schedule them into your calendar, into your day. Make them as important as anything else you do. Be consistent. Dedicate the next 4 weeks to mastering these habits and really see how good you can feel. Building a solid nutrition foundation creates the balance our body needs to thrive. So trust that the body knows what to do. We just have to get out of the way sometimes and support it and nourish it. All right. So as you may have seen by now, diet culture and the habits of modern society contribute to a huge increase in extra stress on our body, making our hormones wonky, driving down the metabolism, leading to poor health. So nourishing yourself with the habits we discussed is the ultimate form of self-love and the foundation to experiencing lasting energy, having good moods, those easy problem-free periods, healthy fertility and libido, and finding your happy weight. It also helps us to create resilience and really reclaim our knowledge of how the body is designed to work so that we can pass this wisdom on to the next generation. We are really on this precipice right now where we've never been sicker as a collective, and we won't sustain on this trajectory. So it's time we really get back to the basics and get back to our roots and help to shift this paradigm. So now, before I share my other bonus giveaway, I want to tell you about an exciting project I've been working on, and I want to invite you to be a part of it. So remember how I said this is really only the tip of the iceberg? Well, if you're ready to dive all the way in on transforming your health, and you crave that kind of more step-by-step guidance, that support, that accountability, then I'd love for you to get in as a founding member for my 8-week course. I'm taking only 10 people to be part of this beta group and get early access at the ground level. And because I'm so passionate about helping people and transforming their health, I wanted to make this accessible to everyone. So the investment for the program will be deeply discounted and will never be really this low again. So if you've tried a lot of things in the past, or you're ready for that sustainable long-term solution to living a vibrant, healthy life that you're in control of, then this is the one for you. And, if you've tried kind of going it alone and you really desire that expert support and that practical guidance that gives you the tools to feel more empowered in your life, then I'd really love for you to join me. This program is designed to be a lifestyle transformation that produces real results. And as a founding member, you'll get weekly lessons, video lectures with me, and supplemental material, plus some easy to follow how-tos. You'll get weekly done-for-you meal plans, including grocery shopping lists, recipes, and prep guides to support you in the kitchen. You'll also receive printable resources to help you put these lessons into action. And you'll get weekly one-on-one check-ins and coaching with me, plus private Facebook group for connecting and creating with our community here on this collective transformative health journey. And if you get in at the ground level, you'll also get that 50% discount off the price of this course. So here is really this whole course, Nourish, is really the same method that I've used with hundreds of my clients one-on-one, and I've seen amazing results. And I just really wanted to provide this for more people and help to make a bigger impact. So all of this, if it were one-on-one, would cost a little over $2,000. yet the 8-week course will probably run around $1,000. Your investment would be 3 payments of $197 or only 1 payment of $497. So it's a 50% discount I'm offering for the founding members only. This offer will be open to participants who've done this training with me. So if you're at all interested, save your spot now. I'll place that VIP link in the chat. And I really want to just remind you about taking this course. So if you have a friend or family member, or maybe someone who you want to do this with, this is a great course to have that accountability member. I'm also going to be that support for you and help keep you accountable. But I've found that programs can be really fun when you do them together. So you're welcome to share this link, but it will expire in the next 24 hours. So what's the course all about? Here are a few of the lessons that we'll cover. So we're going to go into the mindset. We'll tackle and shift beliefs, habits, and behaviors that influence health. This mindset piece is so important for tackling any transformation that you're making. So we'll spend an entire lesson on that. We'll talk about empowered education. So I'm really going to help you master your digestion, your metabolism, your thyroid health, your liver, and balance those hormones. There's a lot more hormones out there than the ones we talked about today. So you can really become the expert of your body and know how to support it. Another module we'll be going over is the foundations of health. So this is where it's all about the diet, the lifestyle, the environment, and stress, and then how to cultivate practices of well-being in all of those areas of life. Then we'll dig into the nutrition principles. This is the what, when, and how portion of the course to really empower you to use the tools that I'll be giving you to take action. So this is where we'll really be digging into the diet, how to optimize the kitchen, how to really nourish yourself without a ton of extra time or effort. And then movement. We can't forget about this one. So this will be about creating a sustainable plan that really fits your lifestyle and your limbs. So we'll talk a lot about detoxing in this module and other things besides just exercise. And then lastly, we'll have an entire section on application and integration. So keeping you getting those results beyond the 8 weeks. So here's what you'll need to do next. Snag that PDF resource, those 8 micro habits to master. Become a founding member for the 8-week course, Nourish, if that's something that really speaks to you. And then also, number 3, implement the 5 habits that we talked about today over the next 4 weeks and really see just how good you can feel. I'm going to make sure that I can send you, let's see, that final bonus as well. So I mentioned that collection of recipes and that really done for you meal plan. And these, you guys, are my absolute favorite recipes. So I hope you enjoy them. They will help you have a little extra support in the kitchen as you're jumpstarting some of these new habits. So you can go to deannadewitt.com. That's my website, deannadewitt.com/recipes. And you'll be able to download the done for you meal plan and the recipes there. So I just want to say a huge thank you guys for joining me tonight. I'm going to pop over and let us do a little Q&A here. But let me just go ahead and stop my screen sharing. I'll connect live. I want to just check the chat here. Feel free to pop any questions in below. Awesome, Sam, you're in. I'm so excited. Ooh, walking daily. Yes. So big. We don't think about it, right? It's a lot of times we really kind of underrate walking, but I know Robbie could really attest to this. It's so supportive for the structure. So love that. Love that you're committing to that. Awesome. Dee, you're in. Awesome. Love to have you. Cool. Well, go ahead and type any questions that you guys may have. Ooh, you got a Peloton. Tara's in. Awesome. I love a Peloton. I've heard really great things about that. Amazing. Well, I'm going to leave this little chat open here for a few minutes. If you guys want to pop any questions in there. Working for me. Is that everything? Let me go ahead and just type this one in and see if this works. And if you are not, let's see. That works. And if you guys are not currently on my email list, I send out weekly newsletters every Wednesday with tons of recipes. I'm always trying to provide value in there and give you some practical steps to kind of help you throughout the week. So the recipes, yes, they are pretty simple. In fact, a couple of the recipes in there are surrounded with a rotisserie chicken. So it's like half store-bought and half homemade. So I know a lot of times during the week, we don't have all the extra time that we may have on the weekends to spend in the kitchen. Yeah, the recipes are tasty. And this is really a guide. So use it kind of however you'd like, you know, your taste preferences, your modifications. Feel free to adjust it and make it your own. They are printable. You can put them in a 3-ring binder and start building collections of recipes. I'm always sending them out. Ooh, yeah, I put a lot of breakfast recipes in here. So that's good. Dee, you'll like that. There's a couple like egg cups and my famous breakfast meatballs. I also love to make them on the weekend. So like making a batch on the weekend and then having it all week for breakfast so that you're not, you know, trying to figure out what to eat in the morning. And then you end up with that like banana and green juice or that muffin and OJ story that we talked about. Awesome. And if any of these links you're not able to get in the chat, just send me a message. You can go to deannadewitt.com. That's my website. Let's see. Mentioned weight training, exactly. Oh, 5. So when I was talking about the habit, the 5th habit, movement, I mentioned weight training. So another word for that would be just lifting weights. So whenever we build our muscles, so lifting weights versus cardio exercise, so it's a different form of exercise. So as we build muscle, the muscle breaks down our fat tissues while we're sleeping at night. So we're actually burning throughout the night as we're sleeping. So hopefully that answers your question. And weight training, I'm going to be going over that in the Nourish module. So I'll give exercises and specific things. It's so great for women. It's great for our bone health and really just to help us kind of create some of those soft curves. I want to just double check this chat here real quick. So if you're eating only every 4 to 5 hours, how many times a day do you recommend eating and no snacking? So just... let's see. So yeah, so when you're first starting these habits, if you are someone who's come from kind of riding that blood sugar roller coaster, you may need snacks in between meals because you need to honor your body. So if you are having a really balanced breakfast and then you're noticing a couple hours later, you know, maybe mid-morning, you're hungry or you are starting to lose some energy, go for a healthy snack. Absolutely. I'm definitely not saying don't have a healthy snack, but we want to get to a place metabolically. It's a great sign of a metabolism where we can have that balanced breakfast. Remember, balance means a healthy fat, a quality protein, and a whole food carbohydrate. And the recipes will kind of help you with that. But when you have that at a meal, you should be satiated and should be able to ideally get to a point where you can go 4 to 5 hours without having hunger. And then by the time your next meal comes, you're hungry, you're ready to eat. So then you enjoy that meal thoroughly. One of the other signs to look out for is if you are having a meal and then you notice 2 hours later that you're hungry, you may need to increase your fat a little bit. So remember those healthy fats like avocado, pasture-raised eggs, raw dairy, if that works for you, and then coconut oil, grass-fed butter, all of those oils and fats that we cook into. So you don't need a lot, but that fat is kind of like the slow burning logs in the fire. So they can help us to really have that sustainable energy throughout the day as well. Whereas carbs, we digest very quickly. That's why we want to make sure that we're including some of those saturated fats, those animal fats in our diet. I see you in the chat, Sam. I don't know. Oh, Zoom people can't see the chat. Oh, I don't know. I'll have to, it's probably one of the zillion settings that I didn't figure out. So best way for payment, that's a great question, Dee. So if you're interested in joining the Nourished 8-week course, then the link that will be provided, I'm going to send it here now and put it in the chat for you. So you'll be able to click right on this and pay right through that link. I do also do Venmo, Deanna DeWitt. And if you'd like to do like a payment plan or something where you do the 3 payments instead of just 1 payment, just reach out to me or put your email in the chat and I'll be sure to connect with you that way. Otherwise, I'm going to write the link right in here. So just bear with me. If you guys have any kind of last minute questions that you want to pop in, and it doesn't have to necessarily be what we talked about tonight. So if there's anything that you've kind of had a burning question about, I will try to answer it as best I can. Oops. Okay, so you may have to, let's see. Oh, that's not supposed to be. Let me try that one more time. So when do you plan to start the course? Oh, sorry, it just closed out of that. Yeah, so I'm going to kind of see how many people we get joining in the next week here. My idea would be to start it in February. So mid-February, beginning of March, right in spring, so that you'll be done and ready to go by the time summer hits. I know summer is a really busy season to do programs. So ideally, beginning of March, we'd hit the ground running with that. So let's see. And you will have all the materials and all the course information so that you can kind of do it at your own pace as well. I'll provide the live trainings each week and the resources and supplemental information, and then we'll have our check-ins each week. But you'll also be able to always access and come back to that information if you need to at a different time. So even if you can't make it on the live training, you can see the replay, or we'll be able to schedule time together too. So how do we get the recipes? Let me see. I don't know if Robbie wasn't able to share the chat. So let me put that in here. So here is the link. Hopefully you guys can see that. Oh, that might be why. I think the settings were just not to everyone. So can you guys see that? There's the link if you'd like to join the Nourish program. And then I'll also add in, now that we're on everyone, I'll also add in the link to get the recipes. So that is my own website. So you can go to deannadewit.com/recipes. And if for any reason these don't work out, let me know. Let's see. Let's hang out here for another minute. It seems as though, Melissa, it's so funny. My chat just keeps routing back to you. So you're getting all of my chat messages. So there we go. That one should have gone to everyone. I see it and it works. Awesome. Thank you, guys. Thank you so much for joining me tonight. I celebrate you guys. We're on this crazy journey of life together. And so I thank you for showing up tonight, for desiring the best for yourself and for your family. And let's really be a part of this shift in the health paradigm and cultivate that vibrant future together. So thank you guys so much again for joining me tonight. Hopefully there will be a replay. So if you missed anything or you wanted to see those slides again, I'll provide that for you. Otherwise, make sure you're on my email list and we will stay connected. Thank you, Dee. Thank you, everyone. Have a great rest of your evening. Awesome. Dee, I'll make sure I get connected with you and we'll get that set up. Perfect.